Click each type to know more about it. These are banks incorporated in India whose share are held by public. Majority of these banks belong to the category of old generation private banks and are 13 in number. These banks are characterized by small balance sheet size, regional operations, and traditional type of management and business activities. The other category of private sector bank is the new generation banks. There are 7 such banks. These banks are incorporated after 1993. These banks are better capitalized, technology-driven, and aggressive in business development. These are the banks incorporated outside India but granted license by Reserve Bank of India or RBI to do banking business in India through their Indian branches. While there are many foreign banks operating in India, their branch network is smaller and most of them operate in metropolitan cities and state capitals. Their operations are technology-driven and a good part of their business comprises of corporate banking, foreign exchange, export-import finance, and merchant banking. These are banks which have been given license to function in a given area. They operate with a low level of capital and cannot offer all the financial services of a commercial bank. There are only 4 local area banks in the country as of now. Are registered under the State Cooperative Act and multi-state cooperative banks with the Registrar of Cooperative Societies. Their main regulator is the state government or central government in cases of the cooperative banks operating in more than one state. The organizational structure and management setup of cooperative banks is based on the cooperative principles. Cooperative banks are classified into primary cooperative banks, that is, urban cooperative banks, short-term cooperative banks, that is, agriculture cooperative banks, and agriculture and rural development banks, that is, land mortgage banks. And answer. Click on the right option and click Done to complete answering the question. Now we have seen the structure of banks in India. Let's see their functions as listed on the screen. Accepting deposits, loans and advances, remittance services, miscellaneous services, electronic banking. Click each function to know more about it. A bank accepts money from its customers. A customer can keep his or her money in current accounts where no interest is payable or in savings accounts where nominal interest is paid. In both these accounts, the amount deposit is repayable back to the customer as and when needed or demanded. The accounts where the customers can keep their funds for a longer time are called term deposits. Unlike current and savings bank deposits, the amount deposited as term deposits are normally repayable only after the expiry of the agreed term or period for which it is kept. In addition to meeting their operational expenses, banks also have to pay interest on the deposits at agreed rates of interest. Therefore, banks have to invest or lend money and earn interest. Lending money by way of loans and advances of various kinds is thus an important traditional function of a bank. Banks lend in the form of cash credits, overdrafts, demand loans, and term loans. Customers have to make payments for purchases in the place of their business or in the place of business of the seller. However, it may not be possible for a buyer to move from place to place for making payments. Nor will it be economically viable to carry large sums of money from place to place. To facilitate this, banks have branch network spread across various regions. This network enables the banks to remit funds of their customers, if needed, from one place to another in the same country or overseas by electronic funds transfer or by issuing bank drafts. In addition to the core functions, banks also render other services which are useful to customers, business firms and members of the society. These services include safe deposit lockers, safe custody of valuables, issuance of travelers' checks, letters of credit and guarantees, collection of outstation checks, bills, hundies, furnishing opinion reports on their customers, agency services for government business, correspondent, trusteeship and executor's business. In the wake of the recent strides in information and communication technologies, almost all commercial banks have adopted information technology and IT-driven systems. Banks have adopted IT and computerization for front office operations as well as back office operations such as internal accounting and books balancing and settlement of transactions. Information technology has thus brought about anywhere and anytime banking and contributed to the speed, accuracy and confidentiality of customers' transactions while enhancing customers' convenience. Let's see some new features of banking. Mobile banking. Most banks offer instant 24/7 interbank electronic fund transfer service through mobile phones. Payments can be made from mobile to mobile, ATM to mobile, bank account to mobile. Besides fund transfer, mobile banking also offers merchant transactions and balance enquiry. Internet banking. Internet banking is a convenient way to conduct bank transactions online instead of finding a bank and interacting with a teller. In a broad sense, it is the use of electronic means to transfer funds directly from one account to another, rather than by check or cash. Internet banking will help check account statement, transfer funds, open a fixed deposit, pay utility bills, recharge prepaid mobile, DTH and a lot more. And answer. Click on the right option and click Done to complete answering the question. Let's summarize what we have discussed in this module. A bank is a financial institution. Banks in India are generally classified into scheduled and non-scheduled banks. Scheduled banks are further classified into commercial and cooperative banks. Public sector banks are the banks in which majority ownership, 51% or more share capital, is owned by the Government of India. State Bank of India is the largest bank in India and has more than 17,000 branches. Cooperative banks are registered under the State Cooperative Act and multi-state cooperative banks with the Registrar of Cooperative Societies. The main functions of banks are accepting deposits, loans and advances and remittance services.